Such an unpredictable nature of this game is what makes people of all ages swoon over it. A minimum of 12 people per team was required for this game. Ken Aston was the first to use the yellow and red penalty cards that are still in use today. If you thought every proper football match had a duration of 90 minutes only, you may be mistaken. Ain't that just a little change in football these days? Welcome on board. You are at the Life Cues Junction. Congratulations, you are at the right channel on a wonderful journey called life. Are you ready for a new ride today? Remember, the train leaves on time. So please go ahead, subscribe and press the bell icon to help us be on time. Done that? Thank you. Let's go. Football fever is truly here, and how. This current World Cup in Qatar has already thrown many upsets. Who would have thought that Saudi Arabia, who never won their opening game in their World Cup history, would defeat Messi's Argentina? And the mighty Germany totally outplayed the Japanese but still lost the game 2-1. Even Morocco put their hands up and defeated Belgium 2-0 on Sunday. Can you believe that? Such an unpredictable nature of this game is what makes people of all ages swoon over it. And that's why there is no denying that football is the most popular sport on the planet. More than 200 countries throughout the world include organized football leagues and tournaments. Its appeal extends far beyond the current FIFA membership of nearly 200 countries. There are more than 250 million football players in the world, or more than 3% of the total population. In reality, there are more than 3 billion sports lovers around the globe. Over 3.5 billion people around the world watch the World Cup every year. That's almost half the planet, making the World Cup the most watched event ever. In this video, I'm going to share some interesting nuggets about your favorite sport to learn more about the evolution of football and how it came to be the global phenomenon that it is today. By the end of this video, I'm sure you will have picked up some interesting new info about football. So let's kick it off. Number 1. The origins of football date back to thousands of years. Formerly known as Kuzu in ancient China, the game we now call football had a different name back then. A minimum of 12 people per team was required for this game, making it a popular option for celebrations and other large gatherings. They would use a maximum of 16 players at times. When playing Kuzu, there was just one goal, unlike in soccer. To score a goal, a team must kick the ball without using their arms or hands. Number 2. In the past, pig bladders were used to make footballs. Football balls were originally made by inflating sheep or pig bladders. After inflating, these bladders would be given a leather covering and be ready for action. In comparison to modern footballs, the first ones weighed only 4.4 ounces and had a circumference of 5 to 6 inches, making them far more manageable for players. Until the invention of vulcanized rubber, football was played using natural rubber. Number 3. It wasn't until 1855 that the first true football was made. As early as in 1855, Charles Goodyear revolutionized football with his invention of vulcanized rubber. By replacing the interior of a football with this novel type of rubber, the traditional use of a pig or sheep bladder was eliminated. The football ball underwent yet another redesign in 1962, transitioning to its now familiar 32-panel outer shell. Number 4. It wasn't until 1970 that cards were introduced to penalize players. Ken Aston, the referee in the championship game of the 1970 FIFA World Cup in Mexico, was the first to use the yellow and red penalty cards that are still in use today. These cards were created so that the players and the referees could communicate more effectively despite language problems. In 1992, flags and penalties were introduced into the sport of football at a very formal and wide level. And we know that penalty cards are now an accepted component of the game of football. Number 5. King Edward III once put a ban on football. Really? Yes, that's true. King Edward III of England complained in 1349 that a large number of Englishmen were not practicing archery because they were too busy playing football. Since archery was used as a defensive strategy during wars of the 1300s, King Edward III worried that football could weaken the country's defenses. He tried to outlaw football again in 1363. Throughout English history, many monarchs have made similar efforts. Number 6. The final score of 149 versus nil in a football game was the highest in history. One of the referees messed up in a 2002 match between AS Adema and SO Lemerne in Madagascar during a football game. SO Lemerne scored 149 self-goals on purpose as a peaceful protest. Eventually, both the teams and the coaches involved were disciplined for this strategy, and the spectators didn't like it either. Who would do that, huh? Number 7. The longest ever football game was played over 108 hours. If you thought every proper football match had a duration of 90 minutes only, you may be mistaken. One of the longest football matches ever played was in 2016, and it included players from Heartbeat United FC of the United Kingdom. This was a marathon football game that lasted for 108 hours and 2 minutes, and it was a charity game. So this United FC team actually played as two separate squads against one another. This long duration of this game put it in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest football game ever played. Number 8. Sheffield FC began playing as a first ever football club in 1858. A separate football club was founded by two members of the Sheffield Cricket Club in South Yorkshire, England in 1855. Sheffield Football Club was officially established in 1857. Sheffield FC has been playing football for over 150 years now and has been recognized as the oldest club in the world by being admitted into English Football Hall of Fame. Number 9. Despite its widespread popularity, the term soccer is only used in a select few nations. The original name for the game was Association Football. English players later shortened the name to a soccer and subsequently soccer. This term's fame did not spread very far and wide. Today, soccer refers to a sport that is widely played in a number of countries throughout the world, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Number 10. Established in 1996, the National Football League is the highest level of American football. The inaugural season of Major League Football, that is MLS, was originally scheduled for kickoff in 1995, but it was pushed back to 1996. There were just 10 teams in the MLS back then, and players couldn't make more than $192,500 a year. In fact, teams were only allowed to pay their entire roster a total of $1.2 million. Ain't that just a little change in football these days? It's the bonus time now. In the Olympics, football was first played in 1900. The 1900 Summer Olympics held in Paris were not particularly memorable for the followers of this beautiful game around the world, despite being only in the second Summer Olympics in the history. In reality, just 3 teams competed and no medals were given out at the end of the competition. Great Britain was declared the Olympic champion after only 2 games were played. France, who finished in the second place, and Belgium were the other 2 teams. So my friend, from its humble beginnings as a street game in ancient China to its current status as the world's #1 and most widely played sport, football has come a long way in the last 4 millennia. Football has been through it all, from being prohibited in the 1300s by King Edward III to the games ending with a score of 149 to nil. Since 1958, each tournament has drawn billions of viewers to see the best football players in the world compete for the World Cup trophy. Taking into account its storied past, the future of football is open to endless possibilities. Let us know in your comments as to which one of these facts you found most interesting about football. Thank you for watching. Well, that's all for our ride today. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a like and subscribe if not already done so. Thank you for being such a wonderful guest. Take a ride with our next video or see you on our next trip. Till then, take good care of yourself and stay special. Bye-bye.